Ladies and gentlemen, by the power vested in me, I hereby constitute this assembly as a legal congregation of the University of Pretoria. During this assembly, degrees with all the associated rights and privileges will be awarded and conferred on the candidates whose names appear in the program. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we request that you join us in silent prayer or meditation to give thanks for the achievements of our students. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you. Good morning. As Vice Principal of the University of Pretoria, I welcome you to this graduation ceremony. A special word of welcome to the Dean of the Faculty of Humanities, Professor Vasu Reddy, the Deputy Dean, Teaching and Learning, Professor Henny Stander, the Deputy Dean, Postgraduate Education and Ethics, Professor Maxis Skuman, the Director of Finance, Professor Carolina Kornhoff, the Director of Student Enrollment and Student Administration, Ms. Sila Maiberg, and then the Director of Student Administration, Dr. Matete Madiba. Ladies and gentlemen, during this ceremony, we will be conferring 495 degrees, including 6 doctoral degrees. Today's graduation ceremony is one of 30 ceremonies in the autumn graduation period. During this period, a total of 11,637 qualifications will be conferred. There can be no denying, ladies and gentlemen, that the contributions of the University of Pretoria to the total graduate outputs in South Africa is significant. Indeed, according to the Department of Higher Education and Training, 1 in every 10 degrees awarded in South Africa are UP degrees. Furthermore, more than 70% of all master's degrees awarded in South Africa annually are awarded by the University of Pretoria, and 15% of all doctoral degrees awarded in South Africa are conferred by this university. In addition to this, more than 27% of all engineering degrees awarded in South Africa annually are awarded by the University of Pretoria. Of course, it is not only in terms of the number of graduates that it qualifies that the University of Pretoria makes a solid contribution to South African society. The university also seeks to contribute to society in terms of the kind of graduates that it produces. This, in effect, brings me to the focus of my very brief presentation here this morning, namely the graduate attributes that the University of Pretoria wishes to inculcate or see in its graduates. In 2012, the University of Pretoria adopted a set of attributes which it believes all of its graduates should possess by the time they complete their studies. I will focus briefly on some of these attributes. Firstly, however, let me state that the University of Pretoria tries to inculcate these attributes in its students because we believe that it is this set of attributes that enable our graduates to hold their own in the world of work, whether they work for institutions or companies in the public or private sector, or whether they will work for themselves in their own enterprises. Furthermore, we believe that it is this set of qualities that makes UP graduates so sought after in the public and private sectors, both in South Africa and globally. Indeed, it is this set of attributes that will enable our graduates to make a change for the better in our society, and we all know that there's much that requires changing in South African society. I very briefly list some of these attributes, ladies and gentlemen. The first one, and of course I need to add, that we hope that in addition to the degrees that you will be receiving today, that you also can show proof or evidence of these attributes that I will briefly speak of now. The first attribute that we hope to inculcate in our students is a sense of autonomy and confidence. UP wishes to ensure that its graduates can function autonomously and confidently as individuals within the work environment locally and globally. The university wishes to ensure that they can demonstrate initiative in their work and personal lives, and above all, that they are self-reliant and self-driven. Now, last year, which we all know had been an extraordinary year, and for many of you a very difficult year towards the end of the academic year, when we had to shift the mode of lecturing, and a number of students had been requested to acquire the skills which they are supposed to acquire via our online facilities. Now, despite the fact that there had been disruptions, our pass rates for last year were no different to the preceding years. I need to emphasize as well that the exams were not changed. The exams were set way before we had difficulties on campus, and way before we knew that we were not going to be able to give lectures in the way that we normally do. I believe that the fact that our pass rates had not differed from previous years, in fact, in certain instances our pass rates had improved, is due to the diligence of our students and the self-reliance of our students, because a lot of the work which they were required to do, they had to do pretty much on their own towards the end of the year. We also wish that our students can have a sense of leadership. The University of Pretoria works towards ensuring that it produces a type of graduates that are capable of assuming leadership when leadership is called for. Thirdly, we hope that our students have a sense of intellectual curiosity. UP graduates, we believe, should have a thirst for knowledge and apply the knowledge that they acquire to create innovative solutions to work and social problems. And of course, we have a myriad of social problems that are not going to solve themselves, but very frequently our graduates have the skills to enable our society to solve those problems. And therefore, we hope that in addition to your qualifications, you will show proof of these attributes that will enable us to shift this country in a more positive direction. Fourth, we hope that our students have a sense of integrity. UP graduates should behave ethically and with integrity within their professions, their personal lives, and in broader society. Integrity, self-discipline, and ethical conduct appear at some stages to be a scarce commodity. But we do hope that through the training that we offer our students, that we can increase the number of people in South African society who will act with integrity, will take up responsible positions of responsible leadership, and drive our society in healthier directions. And then lastly, there are many other attributes, but I'll stick to 5. We hope that our students have a sense of social responsibility. Above all, the university endeavors to ensure that its graduates have a sense of social responsibility. It endeavors to ensure that its graduates strive towards working for the public good, social justice, equality, and fairness wherever they find themselves, both nationally and globally. Importantly, the university hopes that its graduates will use the skills that they have acquired at the university to improve the living conditions of those less fortunate than themselves. We have to remember, ladies and gentlemen, that graduates constitute a very small component of South African society. Graduates, I hope that in addition to attaining your degrees, you have been able to fine-hone these attributes. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me at this point to congratulate all the graduates for their achievements. All of us here present will agree that this ceremony represents the culmination of much hard work and sacrifice on the part of those graduating. So once again, my sincerest congratulations to everyone who will be receiving their degrees today. Congratulations for having stayed the course. Congratulations for having reached the goal of successfully completing the programs for which you had enrolled. And of course, congratulations to your parents, your guardians, partners, sponsors, and others who have supported you materially and in other ways during the course of your studies. Finally, congratulations and sincere thanks to those who have lectured and supervised the students who will be receiving their degrees here today. At this point, ladies and gentlemen, it may be fitting to comment very briefly on the achievements of the Faculty of Humanities over the past year. All things considered, the past year has in fact been a very good year for our Faculty of Humanities. Specifically, over the past year, the faculty had produced academics in the faculty had produced several books. I name only 3 of them. And coincidentally, the publication of books and good books is a hallmark of any good Faculty of Humanities. For many other faculties in the university, it is scientific publications in journals that are important. But for the humanities, here and everywhere in the world, it is how many good quality publications in the form of books a faculty produces. So firstly, in 2016, Dr. Tula Simpson of the Department of Historical and Heritage Studies published Umkhonto we Sizwe, the ANC's Armed Struggle. In 2016 as well, Dr. Duncan Rabin of the Department of Visual Arts published the book, Seeing Things as They Are, G.K. Chesterton and the Drama of Meaning. G.K. Chesterton is an important philosopher, and so this is quite a seminal work that had been produced. Thirdly, Jacomien van Niekerk, a lecturer in the Department of Afrikaans, had just published a book on the Ankie Krog trilogy of books consisting of Country of My Skull, which was published in 1998, A Change of Tongue, which had been published in 2003, and Begging to be Black, which was published in 2009. Then too, very importantly, in 2016, Zelda Stroud, a master's student in the Department of Visual Arts at the University of Pretoria, finished a set of 4 life-size bronze sculptures of 4 iconic South African women for the Women's Living Heritage Monument in Pretoria. As many of you would know, these 4 women, namely Rahima Musa, Helen Joseph, Lillian Ngoyi, and Sophie Williams, were the leaders of the Women's March to the Union Buildings in 1955, and again in 1956, to present petitions in protest of the implementation of past laws for black women. The fact that Zelda Stroud had been commissioned to do this work is indeed a very, very big accolade. Also in 2016, the widely respected and acclaimed University of Pretoria Camerata Choir launched its latest album. The album is called Love and War, and this was a project that was 2 years in the making. In July of this year, this very same choir will represent not only our institution, we believe, but also our country and the continent at the 11th World the 11th World Symposium on Choral Music in Barcelona, Spain. This is the world's largest conference for choirs. The International Federation of Choral Music hosts this prestigious event every 3 years. Only 24 choirs are selected from across the globe to perform for literally thousands of conductors, singers, composers, and choral enthusiasts. UP Camerata will perform a program that seeks to reflect the cultural diversity of South Africa. Finally, too, in 2016, 2 of the young academics in the humanities, namely Dr. Renine Munsami of the Department of English and Annelie Groenewald of the Department of Visual Arts, featured amongst the Mail and Guardian 200 young South Africans of note. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to congratulate the faculty for these and the long list of other achievements that I cannot mention here due to time constraints. What I can say, and suffice it to say, that I know that given the productivity of the faculty and also under the leadership of the deanery, specifically Dean Vasu Reddy, the faculty is developing by leaps and bounds, and I do know that in a few years' time, this will be the faculty of choice for people interested in studying in the humanities. Of course, the most significant achievement of the faculty during 2016 had been its contribution to the success of the graduates who will be conferred degrees here today. Ladies and gentlemen, I now wish to request that you give yourselves, as well as your families, lecturers, and supervisors, a resounding round of applause for your achievements. You and those who have supported you through your studies really deserve the accolades that you will be receiving today by way of the degree certificates. Ladies and gentlemen, I had made an omission at the beginning of the ceremony. I had forgotten to extend a special word of welcome to some of our guests, and I'm now going to do it very briefly. I acknowledge the chairpersons of schools here present, the heads of department, doctors, emeriti, and honorary professors, and other lecturers and their spouses. I also want to note and extend a special word of welcome to supervisors, co-supervisors, and external examiners of Dr. Randi. And then, of course, very importantly, I wish to welcome and acknowledge the representative of the Student Representative Council, who will present the SRC academic colors. And then most importantly, and I should have done this in the beginning, the graduates. And very importantly, those people, and I need to extend belatedly my warmest welcome to those people who had supported our graduates during the course of their studies, namely their parents, their spouses, their friends, and other support networks that they had relied on. Ladies and gentlemen, we can now proceed with the rest of today's ceremony. And I now request the Dean and supervisors to introduce me to the candidates present whose name appear in the program.
Mr. Vice Principal, we will commence with the doctoral candidates. The supervisors will now introduce the candidates.
Mr. Vice Principal, I introduce to you Mr. Benjamin Beukes, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Doctor of Music with a thesis entitled Creative Arts in Pre-Service Teacher Education, a Collective Case Study. In this thesis, Creative Arts in Pre-Service Teacher Education, a Collective Case Study, the promovendus investigated the relevance of the current programs used to prepare teachers as creative arts educators. In his results, he formulated specific guidelines for the design and implementation of a creative arts program suitable for the higher education sector. The value of the suggested program will be that it addresses challenges experienced by both lecturers and pre-service teachers in creative arts education and suggests possible strategies for the successful preparation of competent creative arts teachers. Mr. Vice Principal, I request that you confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Music with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate.
Mr. Vice Principal, I introduce to you Bibian Kalinda, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Doctor of Music with a thesis entitled Music Education in Zambia, using game songs in early childhood learning, prepared under my supervision. In her thesis, Music Education in Zambia, using game songs in early childhood learning, the promovenda investigated cultural music in and outside preschools and designed a cultural play song model that assembles key aspects in these two settings. The model illustrates that group collaboration, self-regulation, friendship, group leadership, and adult modeling, inherent in social interactions of cultural play songs, have significant application value in teaching and learning situations. The thesis makes recommendations for the use of teaching and learning approaches that support teacher and learner interactions in musically and playfully stimulated environments. Mr. Vice Principal, I request that you confer the degree on this candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Music with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate.
Mr. Vice Principal, I introduce to you Viola Nyemudzai Mugandani, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Doctor of Music with a thesis entitled Jangwa Music and Musical Performance by the Manyika People of Zimbabwe, prepared under my supervision and with Professor Meki Nzewi as co-supervisor. In her thesis, Jangwa Music and Musical Performance by the Manyika People of Zimbabwe, the promovenda investigated the origins and structure of Jangwa music. The outcomes of the study revealed some form of acculturation in the origin and structure of the music, resulting in the music being a contemporary choral music. Her findings revealed that the majority of Jangwa songs are for wedding and marriage ceremonies. Jangwa song lyrics convey the distinctive values, virtues, and life skills of the Manyika people, and are therefore inextricably bound to the indigenous fabric and context-specific utilitarian purposes of the music. Mr. Vice Principal, I request that you confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Music with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate.
Mr. Vice Principal, I introduce to you Irene Odier, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Doctor of Philosophy, Fine Arts, Creative Production, with a thesis entitled The Ontology of Photography Visually Analyzed Through the Camera Obscura, and with a body of creative work entitled Away from View, prepared under the supervision of Professor Elfriede Dreyer and co-supervised by myself and Professor Keith Dietrich. In her research, the promovenda applied the concepts heterotopia, intersubjectivity, liminality, and chora in order to investigate the ontology of photography through the camera obscura as primary medium. The chosen concepts were used as lenses through which her artworks were interpreted. The research was conducted at 3 different locations: termite mounds, Robben Island prison cells, and a vulture feeding station. She presented an alternative approach to the understanding of the darkened space inside the camera as well as the space of the photographic image. The heterotopian space is defined as one of otherness, which implies that it is part of society, yet functioning according to its own rules. Intersubjectivity is a concept that can be described as the experience of oneself through one's connectedness with the other and the world around us. Liminality occurs as phases of transition that take place in society. Chora, a concept introduced by Plato, refers to an eternal, indestructible amorphous space which could be being or God. The investigation was expanded by introducing a discussion of 2 abilities often ascribed to photography: its prosthetic ability to capture the unseen and the ability of photography to retain memory. She affirmed that within the pervasive use of photography to inform and conform contemporary visual culture, an alternative approach to understanding the medium seems imperative. This research contributes to an altered understanding of photography as a source of information. Mr. Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy, Fine Arts, with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate.
Mr. Vice Principal, I introduce to you Anne Schaeffer, who has complied with the requirements for the degree PhD in Fine Arts, with a thesis entitled The Hysterical Substrate, an Analysis of the Hysterical Mode of Representation Underlying Surrealism, prepared under my supervision and the co-supervision of Professor Ingrid Stevens. In her thesis, the promovenda analyzed the relationship between surrealist art and hysterical representation, where hysterical representation is defined as entailing the cryptic, phantasmic, and corporal articulation of repressed dramatic knowledge. This correlation of surrealism with its hysterical mode of representation is applied to the analysis of the contemporary artworks of the South African artist Mary Sibande. The analysis develops a new interpretive framework enriching the understanding of Sibande's artworks. Mr. Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy, Fine Arts, with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate.
Mr. Vice Principal, I introduce to you Annette Barnard, who has complied with the requirements for the degree PhD in Visual Studies, with a thesis entitled Other Portraits, Mimesis Revisited Through Productive Metaxas as Portrayed in Selected South African Portraiture post-1994, prepared under my supervision. In her thesis, the promovenda investigates the metaphysics of presence in selected art historical portraiture. the mimetic portrait sets out to capture the complete presence of the sitter through truthful essence and likeness. The politics of likeness outlines the development of mimetic presence to that of political presence. During colonialism, likeness became a means of capturing so-called racial essence. Anthropological portraits sought to establish an iconic taxonomy of race. Artists, after 1994, identified the notion of mimetic likeness as an apparatus of otherization. They confronted mimetology in rejection of the European representational tradition. Their challenging of the metaphysical presence or the human essence and mimetic likeness culminated in an anti-mimetic portrait. The study traces the portrait from mimetic reflection to metaxas participation. Selected South African selfies were also discussed in terms of its metaxas, which creates a space for democratic participation of the subject in his or her own representation. Metaxas enables democratic dialogue between the past and the present, the self and the other. Mr. Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree, Doctor of Philosophy, with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate.
Mr. Vice Principal, I introduce to you Renette Creer, who has complied with the requirements for the degree PhD in Visual Studies, with a thesis entitled Dystopia, the Utopia of Dissidence and Cultural Pluralism in 3 Generations of Dutch Artists, prepared under my supervision and the co-supervision of Professor Jean van Eeden. In the study, a utopia of dissidence and cultural pluralism named dystopia was developed. The term is a neologism formulated to invoke elements of utopia, such a vision for an improved social-cultural sphere, as well as the aspects of dystopia, namely skepticism regarding the prevalent. The term also denotes the political experience of dissent. Utopia is categorized as representative of either the same or the other, defined as an agent marginalized along the vectors of race, class, gender, and sexuality. The utopias of 3 generations of Dutch visual artists were subsequently critiqued through the lens of dystopia. Mr. Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree, Doctor of Philosophy, with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate.
Mr. Vice Principal, the following candidates have complied with all the requirements for the degree Master of Arts in Visual Studies, Hatting Johanan with distinction. Mr. Vice Principal, the following candidates have complied with all the requirements for the degree Master of Arts in Fine Arts, Leandre Leroux with distinction. Thelma van Rensburg. Van Wyk Josley. Mr. Vice Principal, the following candidates have complied with all the requirements for the degree Master of Music in Music Therapy, Estine Brown. Gavronsky, Yale. Van Rooyen, Henri with distinction. Harmi Filyoun. In musicology, Peter Small. Mr. Vice Principal, the following candidates have complied with all the requirements for the degree Master of Arts in Performing Arts. Lindy Brink. Kisu Cho with distinction. Jacobus van Staden. Mr. Vice Principal, the following candidates have complied with all the requirements for the degree Bachelor of Arts Honours in Drama and Film Studies, Mornay Breitenbach. Dene Janse van Rensburg with distinction. Chad Johnston. Nikita Mohuare. Wesley Smith with distinction. Rachel Swanepoel. In visual studies, Julia Bain. Nicholas Bailey. Nkami Manyike. Courtney Tink. Marika Lee von Beeneke with distinction. Mr. Vice Principal, the following candidates have complied with all the requirements for the degree Bachelor of Music Honours in Music Education, Wendy Nevote with distinction. Jonathan Thorburn with distinction. Nadia van Heerden. Ryan Wetzlar. Mr. Vice Principal, the following candidates have complied with all the requirements for the degree Bachelor of Arts. Dion Alberts. Nabila Anwar Ali. Anushka Armstrong with distinction. Chandray Barnes. David Barnard with distinction. Yuandre Becker. Michael Beckwith. Harriet Bentley. Tamarin Bentley with distinction. Alexis Beretta. Christopher Bester. Mariska Bierkes. Anton Bischoff. Jeannie Blackbeard with distinction. Lee Blackburn. Ashley Blandon de Chalaine. Karel Boshoff. Heloise Bosman. Chanel Bueta. Chanel Boer. Andrew Boys. Ashley Brown with distinction. Sarah Brecher. Nandi Berger. Michelle Kabula. Shashka Campos with distinction. Ryan Churchill with distinction. Annette Cillier. Jacques Coetsier. Kaylee Compton. Leonie Cortizo with distinction. Carla Kraus. Haley Kundal. Bailey Dalhuisen with distinction. Odile de Villiers. Ashante de Bruin. Marika de Bruin. Ewald de Kok. Annika de Lange. Maria Deppe. Zani de Wit, Tandeka Dibakwane, Ontiretse Diole, Sarah Dold with distinction, Michaela Doran with distinction, Helene Duplessis, Donovan Deploy, Jody Dupria, Timon Dutoit, Demi Dyers, Jody Edwards, Angela Elliott, Kimberly Elvin, Sipesishle Fakude, Johannes Ferreira, Kieron Foba, Berger Foster, Nelita Furi, Kieran Frey, Robin Friedman, Carleen Gardner, Nadia Geldenhuis, Curtis Giereke, Larissa Geerstein, Ashley Giblot de Cray with distinction, Johannes Gauss, Paul Gray, Ross Gray, Leneke Griesel with distinction, Nina Marie Grobler with distinction, Meandri Grinling, Yolanda Guma, Jamie Hamilton, Lauren Hamilton. Chloe Hansen. Casey Harling with distinction. Danielle Harris with distinction. Leah Hartley. Tabassum Hassan. Shante Henrico with distinction. Moniz Hierners. Megan Hills. Busiswa Shlangeni. Mabofokeng Hoyane. Shiluva Holeni. Maximilian Holtz. Kendra Houston Macmillan. Anna Human with distinction. Kirsten Ironside. Nakisani Jacobs. Nicola Jacobs. Peter Jansek with distinction. Marianne Janse van Rensburg. Atenko Sijita. Ilandri Jordan. Nadia Jordan. Kaylee Jorgensen with distinction. Michaela Juby. Ursula Junge. Emanuela Cagliati. Temwanani Kalua with distinction. Ngoni Kamhuka. Eugenie Kapp with distinction. Leandri Karastamatis with distinction. Arifa Karim with distinction. Cassandra Kastner. Seshwashla Kakana. Simpiwe Kakana. Tegan Kendall Ball. Jens Cater. Mpo Kanye. Charlotte Kidgel. Ashton Kirsten. Rachel Kleber. Yaku Kleinsmith. Magriet Kleinhans. Shantay Klopper. Renata Kriel. Bianca Kruger. Giselle Kruger. Danielle Kruger. Simone Kuhn. Dylan Lawrence. Lebogang Lebese. Laurice Leroux. Yvonne Leroux. Gift Let's Swallow. Jessica Littlewood with distinction. Cherise Lombard. Nadine Lombard with distinction. Lolanthia Lowe. Manya Lowe. Rochelle Lowe. Michaela Lowe. Letabo Lubisi. Silindile Lutuli. Ayanda Mabuza. Boitumelo Mandingwane. Sanele Magagula. Sikelo Mashlangu. Zinshle Mashlangu. Leti Maifadi. Lesejo Makitla. Nsala Makoni. Hope Makua. Ashley Makuerere. Mabore Malashlela. Amuchelang Maledu. Vuisile Maleka. Ashley Mangwane. Muhwati Manyama. Mashlatsi Mapeto with distinction. Lindy Makaza. Boichansho Maripane. Lerato Marolain. Tenil Masha. Tashwin Mateman. Nomshle Mate. Lerato Matsunyane. Mule Maubane. Tondani Mavungu. Muliswa Mazibuko. Nangakulu Mbembana. Musalo Mangelisako Mbokane. Savannah McCabe. Sinead McCurry. Michaela MacDonald. Non quasi Gese. Amber Milesevich. Tobeka Mkize. Sizakela Mkobongo. Zintle Mwerkana. Gineth Mlati. Rejoice Mguni. Nobushle Mnisi. Lorraine Moachi. Molebocheng Mokwena. Kolani Monkwana. Crystal Momberg with distinction. Lebochang Monaisa. Michaela Mulu. Juanita Musa. Sabira Musa with distinction. Haley Morris. Gape Musime. Christian Mostert. Sarah Msimango. Sherlinka Naidu. Sinetemba Ndlovu. Amone Nell. Helen Nell. Chililo Nembambula. Mponga Kane. Nontubeko Ngobo. Nkateko Gobeni. Nontokozo Nkosi. Jessica Nogiech. Yolisa Notnachel. Kutsofalo Ntuli. Tlotlo Ntwape. Nongredo Kumalo. Ntiyiso Nkumalo. Ashley O'Brien. Emile Oliphant. Claudia Olver. Antoinette Westhuizen with distinction. Stephanie Westhuizen with distinction. Georgia Orban. Richard Pouts with distinction. Tammy Peterson. Palesa Pashlane. Babs Paga. Andrea Pinar. Danica Pillay. Raquel Perez. Matapelo Pizzo. Jodie Ellen Plycheese. Andisiwe Puzi. Caroline Quinn with distinction. Offense Rabotata. Ashley Rainier. Toki Ramanitrera. Maria Ramongane with distinction. Tato Rapulana. Mosibudi Rasetaba. Thank you. Shlengiwe Raula. Katerina Reitinger. Dana Remus. Taryn Richter. Liani Roux. Henry Sadiki. Tamarin Sadowitz. Karina Schiepers. Sabine Schubert. Monique Schultz. Megan Skitter. Nicole Skitter. Jordan Seach with distinction. Matapelo Sekake. Dineo Seojo. Saish Siusanka Nonku. Tabo Shingange. Thank you. Chantel Smith. Thank you. Michelle Smith. Sahana Srirangam. Navern Subramani with distinction. Stephanie Swartz. Ryan Tehini. Mia Theron. Natasha Thorpe with distinction. Koketso Tubajale. Machala Tulo. Boitumele Selanyane. Michelle Songa. Maxine Turk with distinction. Larisha Valab. Zamatebula Valoi. Melissa van Kopenhagen. Marie Vonay van der Meer. Devon van der Merwe. Gideon van der Merwe. Hendrina van der Merwe. Liana van Vrienden with distinction. Kaelen van Niekerk. Estie van Niekerk with distinction. Nicole van Rooyen. Lee-Marie van Vieren. Angelique van Wyk with distinction. Nadia van Wyk. Nadine van Wijngaard. Kieran Verster. Lusanda Vezi. Megan Viljoen. Kelly Vliegenhart. Taryn Watkins. Taylor Welch. Cassandra Wesley with distinction. Kayla Wesley with distinction. Jessica Wolfart with distinction. Jurgen Wilfenden. Brandon Young with distinction. Dipua Zulu. In music, Janine Coughlin. Jessica Lanzard. Kenneth Mabela. Thank you. Thank you. Daniel Sarkis. Anya Fenter. In visual studies, Terry Broccoli. Natasha Chomsky. Anthony Dawson. And Anthony Dawson receives the award of the Vice Chancellor and Principal. The award consists of a silver medal as well as a cash prize and certificate, and is awarded to the candidate for the outstanding undergraduate academic achievement during all the undergraduate years of study, in effect, the top student in the Faculty of Humanities. Thank you. Tilana Den Hartog. Lisa Duplessis with distinction. She receives the Pearson Heinemann Prize for the top final year English student. Emma Galanakis. Natasha Kotzer. Stephanie Leroy with distinction. Courtney Lloyd with distinction. Olivia Lewitz with distinction. Kaira Lawrence. Eddie Marfa. Laura Miller. Angelia Miller. Kent Needham. Lara Rogers. Montana Zogby. Mr. Vice Principal, the following candidates have complied with all the requirements for the degree Bachelor of Arts in Drama. Kelsey Jo Bowman. Genevieve Bueta. Ronaldo Bueta with distinction. Simone Karstens with distinction. Marinette Kurtzen. Cheyenne Lexi Cohen. Kiara Dawson. Caroline De Beer. Olga De Villiers. Talita De Buisson. Denicia Duplessis. Bernadise Egan. Maritza Erasmus. Shantae Geary. Sunel Gilliland. Samantha Honey. Carolyn Hughes. Walt Janse van Rensburg with distinction. Riabetswe Motlana. Zelne Papenfuss with distinction. Temba Papu with distinction. Simone Phillips. Taylor Rowland. Tamsin Savopoulos. Blyde Smith with distinction. Maria Sneeman. Sarah Sneeman. Margarita van den Berg. Gerlu van der Merwe. Petronella van der Merwe with distinction. Kayla van Lingen. Chantay van Zeel. Anastasia Vorisek. Marlies Wolmerans with distinction. Chengetai Zwomuya. Mr. Vice Principal, the following candidates have complied with all the requirements for the degree Bachelor of Arts in Fine Arts. Monica Blichnow. Chantal Chambers. Onalenda Chichindwa. Cara Duplessis. Janine Engelbrecht. Jandri Janse van Vieren. Tina Kitching. Kaslin Peffer with distinction. Julia Pieterse. Alida Swart with distinction. Chriselle van der Merwe with distinction. Nico van Skalkwijk. Amy Webb. Mr. Vice Principal, the following candidates have complied with all the requirements for the degree Bachelor of Arts in Information Design. Mareke Bernardi. Genevieve Benoit. Jean-Marie Blichnow. Lindy Buertes with distinction. Annika Brits. Trudy Kutsia. Monique Cowdrey. Danica de Bruin. Anna Darheim with distinction. Martin Gibler. Marlies Gous. Chanel Green. Giselle Gruvier. Henri Haasbroek. Naylan Hogg. Benjamin Uester. Shantae Katsky. Joo Hyun Kim. Quentin Kok. Alison Corver. Amy Kramer. Marguerite Leroux. Catherine Lowe. Dea Libber. Suzanne Moorman. Natasha Miller. Daniel Murray. Sirisha Nair. Julia Ormond with distinction. David Petersha. Kayla Rulofs. Maria Stavast. Heather Stobbe. Ramatsimele Takeli. Jason Tieneson. Courtney Thornton with distinction. Tobo Chosa. Pieter van der Westhuizen. Aneldi van Zijl. Renette Wolmerans. Mr. Vice Principal, the following candidates have complied with all the requirements for the degree Bachelor of Music. Michael John Anderson. Inyoy Bay with distinction. Suzanne Basson. Chantae de Klerk with distinction. Dominique Deisel. Monice Dutoit. Renier Hartzenberg. Oluwakayode Ibiayo, Atosa Kalili, So Yong Kim, Martinez Creek, Julienne Lume with distinction, Cassandra Monick with distinction, Christopher Nicolau, Karen Reed with distinction, Audrey van der Dussen, Rona van der Merwe,
I now request the Dean to introduce to me the candidate for the presentation of the award of the Vice-Chancellor and Principal in the Faculty of Humanities.
Mr. Vice Principal, I have the honor to introduce you to Anthony Christopher Dawson for the presentation of the award of the Vice-Chancellor and Principal. Anthony Christopher Dawson complied with all the requirements for the degree Bachelor of Arts Visual Studies on the 30th of November 2016, and the degree was conferred on him today with distinction. He distinguished himself during 2016 as the overall top achiever in the Faculty of Humanities. Mr. Vice Principal, I request you to present the candidate with the award of the Vice-Chancellor and Principal.
Just wait 1 minute. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for the applause, but I have to formally hand over the medal. And I hereby present Anthony Christopher Dawson with the award of the Vice-Chancellor and Principal. Ladies and gentlemen, we have now come to the end of the proceedings. Before we close, I wish to invite all present for refreshments afterwards in the tent situated in front of the Rembrandt Hall. Ladies and gentlemen, you are requested to stand for the singing of the national anthem and to remain standing until the assembly has been dissolved and the academic procession has left the auditorium. The words of the national anthem are printed on the inside back cover of the program.
Israel mitana zoye
Ladies and gentlemen, by the powers vested in me, I hereby dissolve this assembly of the University of Pretoria.
Gaudeamus